Welcome. Today we're diving into the fascinating world of markets where buyers and sellers interact every day. Whether you're shopping for groceries or booking a flight, you're participating in a market. But what determines the price you pay, and why do some products seem to always be available while others run out? The answer lies in the forces of supply and demand. In this video, we'll explore how these forces work together to create market equilibrium, the point where everyone gets what they want at a fair price. Let's start by understanding what supply and demand really mean. Demand refers to how much of a product or service people are willing and able to buy at different prices. Imagine you love ice cream. If the price drops, you might buy more. If it rises, you might buy less. This relationship between price and the quantity people want is called the law of demand. It's a basic principle that helps explain why sales rise during discounts and fall when prices go up. Understanding demand is the first step in grasping how markets function. Visualize demand. Economists use a demand curve. This curve shows the relationship between price and quantity demanded. On a graph, price is on the vertical axis and quantity on the horizontal. As price decreases, the curve slopes downward, showing that people buy more at lower prices. This simple graph helps us see how consumers react to price changes and is a key tool for analyzing markets. Supply is all about how much of a product sellers are willing and able to offer at different prices. For example, if ice cream prices go up, producers are more eager to make and sell more. If prices fall, they might cut back. This is known as the law of supply. Sellers respond to higher prices by increasing supply and to lower prices by reducing it. Understanding supply helps us see the other side of the market equation. Like demand, supply is shown with a curve on a graph. The supply curve slopes upward, meaning as prices rise, sellers are willing to supply more. Price is on the vertical axis and quantity supplied is on the horizontal. This upward slope reflects the idea that higher prices motivate producers to increase output. The supply curve is essential for understanding how sellers react to market changes. Market equilibrium is the point where the quantity demanded by buyers equals the quantity supplied by sellers. At this price, everyone who wants to buy can buy and everyone who wants to sell can sell. There's no shortage or surplus. This balance is what keeps markets running smoothly. It's like a seesaw that's perfectly level with both sides in harmony. Equilibrium price is where the supply and demand curves intersect on a graph. At this price, the amount buyers want to purchase matches exactly what sellers want to offer. The quantity at this point is called the equilibrium quantity. This intersection is the sweet spot for both buyers and sellers, ensuring the market clears without leftovers or unmet demand. If the price is set above the equilibrium, sellers want to supply more than buyers want to buy. This creates a surplus, too much product and not enough buyers. Sellers may lower prices to clear out excess stock, pushing the market back toward equilibrium. Surpluses are a signal for sellers to adjust their strategies. When the price is set below equilibrium, buyers want more than sellers are willing to supply. This leads to a shortage, too many buyers chasing too few goods. In response, sellers may raise prices, encouraging more supply and reducing demand until equilibrium is restored. Shortages prompt both buyers and sellers to change their behavior. Sometimes the entire demand curve shifts. This can happen if there's a change in consumer preferences, income, or the price of related goods. For example, if a new health trend makes ice cream more popular, demand increases at every price. The demand curve shifts right, leading to a higher equilibrium price and quantity. Understanding these shifts helps explain why markets change over time. Supply can also shift. If production costs fall or technology improves, sellers can offer more at every price. This shifts the supply curve to the right, lowering the equilibrium price and increasing quantity. On the other hand, if costs rise, supply shifts left, raising prices and reducing quantity. These shifts are common in real-world markets and affect prices and availability. Let's look at gasoline. When oil prices rise, the cost to produce gasoline increases. This shifts the supply curve left, leading to higher prices at the pump and less gasoline sold. If a new fuel-efficient car becomes popular, demand for gasoline might fall, shifting the demand curve left and lowering prices. These real-world examples show how supply and demand interact daily. Sometimes, governments step in to control prices. They might set a price ceiling like rent control to keep prices from going too high, or they might set a price floor like minimum wage to keep prices from falling too low. These interventions can create shortages or surpluses, disrupting the natural balance of supply and demand. Price ceiling is a legal maximum price. If set below equilibrium, it creates a shortage because more people want the product at the lower price, but sellers aren't willing to supply as much. Rent control is a common example. While it helps some renters, it can also lead to fewer available apartments. Price floor is a legal minimum price. If set above equilibrium, it creates a surplus because sellers want to supply more at the higher price but buyers want less. Minimum wage laws are an example. While they help workers earn more, they can also lead to fewer jobs if employers can't afford the higher wages. Elasticity measures how much demand changes when the price changes. If a small price increase causes a big drop in sales, demand is elastic. If sales barely change, demand is inelastic. Understanding elasticity helps businesses and policymakers predict how people will react to price changes. Elasticity of supply shows how much the quantity supplied changes when the price changes. If producers can quickly increase output, supply is elastic. If it's hard to ramp up production, supply is inelastic. This concept helps explain why some products are always available while others take time to restock. Consumer surplus is the difference between what buyers are willing to pay and what they actually pay. Producer surplus is the difference between the price sellers receive and the minimum they'd accept. Together, these surpluses measure the benefits that buyers and sellers get from market transactions. When markets reach equilibrium, resources are allocated efficiently. This means goods go to those who value them most and sellers get rewarded for providing what's needed. Efficient markets maximize total surplus, benefiting society as a whole. However, real-world factors can sometimes prevent perfect efficiency. Market equilibrium doesn't always guarantee fairness or address every social concern. Sometimes, markets fail due to externalities, lack of information, or market power. In these cases, intervention may be needed to improve outcomes. Understanding these limitations helps us see why economics is both a science and an art. Wrap up: supply and demand are the fundamental forces that shape every market. They interact to determine prices and quantities, leading to equilibrium where buyers and sellers are satisfied. Shifts in supply or demand, government policies, and real-world complexities all influence this balance. By understanding these concepts, you're better equipped to make sense of the economic world around you. Thanks for joining this journey into market equilibrium.